Hi everyone. Today, I want to share my story of how I improved my level in English. English was always something I wanted to master, but like many of you, I found it difficult at first. I was nervous, made a lot of mistakes, and sometimes didn't know how to practice. But over time, I discovered some really useful ways to improve, and today, I'm excited to share them with you. So let's get started. I remember the first time I realized how important English was. I was in a situation where I couldn't communicate well with others. It felt frustrating. I wanted to make new friends, travel, and open up new opportunities, but my English held me back. I thought to myself, I need to improve this if I want to achieve my goals. At the beginning, I was shy. I was afraid to speak because I didn't want to make mistakes, but I soon learned that everyone makes mistakes. The only way to get better is to practice. One of the first things I started doing was practicing English every single day. It didn't matter if I only practiced for 5 or 10 minutes, I just made sure to do something in English. I used to talk to myself a lot. It might sound funny, but I'd start my day by saying, "Good morning. Today is going to be a great day," or "I need to go to work and then I will meet my friends." These small sentences helped me get used to speaking English. At first, it felt awkward, but after a few days, it became a habit. I started describing everything I did. I'm making breakfast. I'm reading a book. I'm going for a walk. It didn't matter if it was simple. What mattered was that I was speaking English. The next thing I did was start listening to English as much as possible. I would listen to English podcasts, watch videos, and even play English music while I was working or cleaning. Listening to English daily helped me get used to the sounds of the language. One day, I discovered a great podcast that used simple English. I would listen to it every morning while I was having breakfast. At first, I didn't understand everything, but I focused on repeating what I heard. If the host said, "What are your plans for today?" I would pause the podcast and say, "What are your plans for today?" This helped me practice speaking too. I also watched English movies and TV shows with subtitles. At first, I needed the subtitles to understand, but as time went on, I started watching without them. I even repeated lines from my favorite movies, like "I'll be back" or "How are you doing?" It became a fun way to practice. Listening not only helped me improve my understanding, but it also gave me the confidence to try speaking more often. Repetition is key, and the more I listened, the more I learned. Another thing that really helped was speaking English whenever I could. I didn't always have people around me who spoke English, so I had to get creative. I joined online groups where people practice English together. I found a language exchange partner who wanted to learn my native language, and in return, we spoke in English. At first, I was nervous. I didn't want to make mistakes or sound silly, but I quickly learned that no one cared about my mistakes, they were just happy to help me. I remember one conversation where I was trying to explain my favorite book. I stumbled over some words, but my partner encouraged me to keep going. We laughed about it, and by the end, I felt much more confident. Speaking with someone regularly helped me so much. Each conversation was a chance to learn and improve. Even though I didn't always know the right words, I knew I was getting better. The more I spoke, the easier it became. Over time, I felt less nervous, and speaking English started to feel natural. One of the challenges I faced was that I didn't know enough words. I realized that if I wanted to express myself better, I needed to learn more vocabulary. I started learning new words every day. I created a list of 5 new words each day. For example, on Monday, I learned words like delicious, helpful, and amazing. I would write them down and make sentences. "This food is delicious," or "My friend is very helpful." The key was to use these words in real conversations or practice sentences so I wouldn't forget them. I also kept a vocabulary notebook. Whenever I read something or watched a video and heard a word I didn't know, I'd write it down. Then, later that day, I would look up the meaning and try to use it in a sentence. This daily habit of expanding my vocabulary made a big difference in my ability to communicate more effectively. Another thing that helped me improve my English was reading books and watching movies in English. I didn't start with difficult books. I started with short stories and articles that were easier to understand. I also watched my favorite movies in English. I remember reading my first book in English. It was a simple story, but I felt so proud when I finished it. Every time I didn't understand a word, I wrote it down. And by the end of the book, I had learned many new words. Watching movies was also fun because I could hear how native speakers talked. I repeated some of the lines from the movies. It felt great to say, "I love this movie" in English, and know I was improving my speaking skills. The combination of reading and watching really helped me understand the language better. It also gave me more confidence in both speaking and listening. Of course, it wasn't always easy. Sometimes, I got frustrated when I couldn't understand something or when I couldn't remember a word. But I realized that this is part of the learning process. No one becomes fluent overnight. It's normal to make mistakes, and it's okay to take things one step at a time. One thing that helped me overcome these challenges was setting small goals. Instead of trying to become fluent in a month, I focused on learning 5 new words a day, or practicing speaking for 10 minutes. These small, achievable goals kept me motivated, and they made the process less overwhelming. Over time, I saw real progress, and that kept me going. If you feel frustrated, remember that improvement comes from consistency. Little by little, you'll see the results.